the world accelerates towards a green energy revolution, the fate of one of the planet's most critical mineral supply chains hangs in the balance. This global transition, designed to combat climate change, is fundamentally powered by nickel, a vital component for electric vehicle batteries. But with this immense demand comes a legacy of environmental degradation and social conflict, shifting the landscape of diplomacy dramatically. But this opportunity comes with a controversial past. A legacy of deforestation and displaced communities has created a deep trust deficit. Now, a new $5 billion US Green Nickel Project by industry giant Zhejiang Huayou Cobalt promises a different future. But can a promise erase the past? To decide its fate, a critical negotiation has been convened, bringing together the primary players. The government of Indonesia, determined to secure its economic sovereignty and development goals, the multinational corporation tasked with meeting the immense global demand while navigating ESG pressures, and civil society, asserting the rights of communities impacted by resource extraction. Adding to the complexity is the International Finance Corporation, striving to ensure that any investment meets global standards for environmental and social sustainability.
Good morning. We are here to shape a new future for Indonesia's role in the global electric vehicle ecosystem. The goal is to create a national framework for sustainable investment using the Sulawesi Green Nickel Project as the driver. It is my pleasure to welcome our esteemed partners from the International Finance Corporation, a representative from Huayou Cobalt, and a representative from Kaum Telapak.
Thank you, Minister. Huayou Cobalt is here to be that partner. Our objective is to establish the SGNP as a global benchmark for ESG. Driven by strict requirements from our own clients like Tesla and Ford, we are proposing a $5 billion investment in next-generation HPAL, high-pressure acid leach technology. We understand this means a new level of social and environmental commitment, and we are prepared for that. However, this commitment must be supported by a regulatory framework that is stable and commercially viable.
Thank you. The IFC is prepared to be a major financial partner. Our mandate is to finance private sector projects that are both profitable and sustainable. Our investment is therefore strictly conditional on full compliance with our 8 performance standards. Our role is to ensure that the project structure mitigates environmental and social risk effectively. Because in our experience, unmanaged ENS risk is the #1 threat to long-term financial viability.
And we are here as the voice for those who bear that risk. We have seen families in Morowali that loses their fishing grounds to red-tinted water, and we have seen forests cleared without proper consent. We welcome the IFC standards, but our role is to provide the on-the-ground truth to ensure those standards are not just a document in Jakarta, but a lived reality for the people of Sulawesi.
Thank you for the proposal. The experience in Morowali has left a deep trust gap, and that is the core concern we must address. The question is, in what tangible ways will the Sulawesi Green Nickel Project be different?
The difference is technological and philosophical. We acknowledge the challenges on our first-generation projects. That is why we are using a next-generation HPAL process with a closed-loop system to minimize emissions. We have learned from the past, but more importantly, we want to change our relationship with the community.
Relationship cannot be changed with the technology alone. The issue in Morowali wasn't just technology, it was a lack of power. Decisions were made for the community, not with them. Now this is the issue that we must solve today.
I agree. This leads to our new idea. We propose a $20 million community trust fund established upfront. To address ethical sourcing, we are also committed to full supply chain transparency, and will fund an independent third-party environmental monitoring program.
These are positive steps. Independent monitoring is a core requirement for us under Performance Standard 1. However, the governance of these programs is key. A fund controlled by the company is viewed differently from one with genuine community participation.
Exactly. An advisory role is not enough. To meet a true ethical standard, we propose a formal voting seat for a community representative on the Project Sustainability Compliance Committee. This gives the community a real voice in holding the company accountable to the standards you set.
A voting seat is a significant governance change we would have to consider carefully. It adds a layer of complexity. This, combined with the high cost of the innovative technology and the independent verification the IFC requires, puts immense pressure on our financial models. We are willing to pioneer a new standard, but we cannot be expected to bear the entire cost of that innovation alone.
This is precisely where government policy can bridge the gap. Our national strategy is to incentivize, not just demand, best-in-class innovation. Therefore, we are formally proposing a green technology tax incentive package specifically designed to offset the capital expenditure for the advanced compliance and monitoring systems being discussed. We consider this a strategic co-investment in a new national standard.
Minister, that is a crucial development. This seems to be our area of common interest. The MNC needs to meet high standards to secure its customers and our financing. Our financing is dependent on those standards being met. The NGO wants those standards to be accountable. The government's incentive makes it commercially viable for the MNC to accept a higher level of accountability. The entire framework becomes de-risk for everyone.
It appears we have the foundations of a consensus. Allow me to formalize what I believe is the final mutually reinforcing framework. First, on the principle of shared oversight, the MNC will commit to the establishment of an independent third-party monitoring system and will formalize a voting seat for Kaum Telapak on the Project Sustainability Compliance Committee. Second, on the principle of shared investment, the government of Indonesia will deploy a green technology tax incentive package to underwrite the significant capital costs associated with these advanced safeguards. Third, on the principle of shared benefit, the MNC will establish the proposed $20 million community trust fund, and an environmental bond will be set at $80 million. This framework represents a balanced distribution of responsibility and benefit. Now I ask each of you for your formal position on this proposal.
This framework directly aligns with the IFC's core requirements for risk mitigation and accountability. The structure provides a clear environmental and social action plan that we can monitor and support. The IFC confirms its approval in principle, pending the formal documentation. We can finance this.
While this agreement does not include the direct revenue sharing model we initially proposed, the establishment of a voting seat on a compliance committee backed by the IFC standards is a good starting step towards genuine accountability. It includes community involvement in how the project is managed, and on that basis, Kaum Telapak lends its full support to this framework. We will continue to closely monitor and support to make sure that these promises are carried out in real life.
We acknowledge the significant new responsibilities this framework places on our operations. However, the government's commitment to de-risk the investment in these standards, combined with the IFC's financial partnerships, create a stable and viable path forward. This structure allows us to build the bankable, ESG-compliant project our global customers demand. We formally accept the terms.
Excellent. We've reached a shared understanding. What we've outlined here represents a new model for sustainable development in Indonesia. To bring this agreement into action, the following steps will be taken. First, my office will prepare a draft memorandum of understanding MOU capturing the 3 core pillars we've agreed upon, which will be circulated for review within 7 business days. Second, we will form a joint steering committee comprising representatives from each stakeholder group present today to guide and oversee the implementation. Third, the committee's initial task will be to develop the terms for an independent monitoring contract and draft a charter for the Sustainability Compliance Committee with a target deadline of 90 days. Thank you for your commitment and collaboration. With that, this meeting is now concluded.
In the end, after hours of intense negotiation, a breakthrough. The result was not a simple compromise, but a new blueprint for resource governance architected around the principle of bankable sustainability. For the first time on this scale, binding independent monitoring and formal mechanisms for community participation have been framed not as impediments to investment, but as essential components for securing it. And so, a powerful precedent is set. Yet the ultimate question remains: will this Sulawesi Accord prove to be a resilient, replicable model for a just transition globally? Or will the immense pressures of the green gold rush overwhelm this fragile accord? The world is watching.